with your clients, so you deal with a lot of, sophisticated investors, even home buyers. Like, what's the sentiment and where they're buying or where they're trying to focus on for the next year?
Yeah, no, really good question. I think, look, the sentiment is, I think there's a bit of caution, in
Mm.
terms of where to buy. I think in the last year or two, one thing I've seen is you could sort of throw a dart at a map of Australia
Yeah.
and land somewhere and you buy property and you probably make money.
Mm.
And even though there's been, some strain in the economy, I think property has just been sort of going up pretty aggressively. And that's all good and well. But I think when you come under times of economic stress, then it's the fundamentals which drive the property growth. A lot of these suburbs which saw these, really high levels of growth were kind of driven by, I call it momentum trading, well, like what people do in equity, right?
Yeah.
Tesla shares going up, let me go buy Tesla shares. And then people have started doing this in property, right? Like our Townsville is a really good example. That suburb went up a lot, and then you thought the cycle had peaked, and then you had this
Yeah.
influx of buyers saying, "Oh, everyone's making money there. Let me buy," right? But what
Mm.
happens is when economic stress comes into the fold and unemployment rises, money gets a bit tighter, it's a little bit harder to spend, then, you're not going to have all this investor activity and you're not going to have this sort of growth, which is just purely driven by over demand and under supply. So I think a lot of my clients and the people I've been speaking with have really just, and it sounds very simple, but just taking it back to basics and making
Yeah.
sure where we're buying is not a sort of short 1 year, 2 year plan where I can make, 5-10% in the short run and pull out some money and, go again. It's more taking a longer term view and saying, hey, look, there's going to be a bit of stress here. I really need to be making sure I'm buying in areas where, you've got good infrastructure, proximity to a capital city, or, good population, got just your sort of basic things. So
Right.
I think I've seen across the board a bit of a pullback on people being, not that they've stopped buying, but I think they're becoming a little bit more cautious with what they're buying and making sure that the asset and the areas they're targeting are underpinned by your sort of, fundamentals. So I think that's going to be really important moving forward.